Hi everyone and welcome back. So there is one reason and one reason only that I'm gracing you and the rest of the internet with my very naked face today, and it's because I have a bunch of new products to try out that I thought I would pop on my face on camera for you so that we can both see together what they're like and just kind of do a bit of a first impressions. Everything that I've got to try is new today apart from my eyebrow product. I'm going to start as always just by refreshing my face with the simple cleansing facial wipes. Then I've been using the Origins Ginseng Eye Cream. I really like this for daytime. It has a gorgeous pearlescent finish to it, so it's kind of like a bit peachy. So it brightens up the under eye and it's really refreshing, and it's my favourite, probably my favourite daytime eye cream to use. Then I'm just going to pop on my Glossier, some of my Glossier Priming Moisturiser, which is what I've been using daily really. I've just realised I've lost a nail. Yesterday I dropped my laptop and I managed to save my laptop but broke a nail, so excuse that. I was going to put a plaster over it but I've completely forgotten, but it's real life and it has broken. I've zoomed you in so you can see what I'm doing better, and you're also going to have to excuse the state of my hair today. I can't quite believe that I'm putting the state of my hair on the internet, but it's one of those days. First thing that I'm going to pop on my eyes, and this is literally just because I've just grabbed out of the drawer in hope that I had a new eye primer. This is the Lorac Behind the Scenes Eye Primer. It's gone on quite sheer. It feels a tad greasy to touch, but hopefully that'll go tacky if I just let that sink in a little bit. For my eyes, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. The colours are beautiful. I'm sure you've all seen this before, but they are definitely more of the warm tones and more bronzes, golds. I am thinking of doing something a little bit different and perhaps using this rosy pink and the dusty rose today. Firstly, going to take all of my eyes Tempera, which looks like a matte, just kind of like bone coloured eyeshadow, and I'm just going to take that all over my lids just to set that primer, which I can kind of see is already creasing a little bit already, which I wouldn't expect from Lorac. And I'm going to take a mixture of orange soda and burnt orange, just because these are closest to the usual crease colours that I would usually go for. These are very pigmented. A lot of product is coming off on my brush and I literally just dipped that into the product, so that's definitely something worth mentioning. Just going to mix together these two shades next. This is Sienna and Rustic, and pop them kind of on the outer corner, a little bit more in the crease to kind of define that a little bit more. Sienna is one of my favourite Anastasia eyeshadows. It's a gorgeous, almost chocolatey brick brown. I think I'm going to try going in with that rose pink colour. I've just swatched it on my finger. In the palette it looks quite pink, but when you actually get it on the eyes it really does kind of blend quite nicely with those warmer tones. So I'm just taking a bit more of the sienna colour and I'm just going to use that to deepen up the outer corner and the crease. So it's not the most exciting of eyeshadow looks. I'm going to leave it there for now and then come back to it at the end and everything will hopefully go a little bit better together. So next I have the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer to use. This is a primer. It says replace your moisturiser, 24-hour hydration. Obviously I've just put my moisturiser on, but I would always normally do that before a primer anyway, so I'll see how this sits on top. My moisturiser's gone quite tacky and my skin is so dry at the moment anyway that I don't think it's going to do any harm by having 2 layers of moisture. So this comes in a little glass bottle with obviously a lid and a pump. It's gone on very wet, if that makes sense. I'm used to using more of a thicker consistency primer, especially when it comes to even the hydrating ones. The Too Faced Hangover X one that I use is a little bit thicker. It doesn't feel as wet as this, so hopefully this will dry down a little bit. That now does feel quite tacky, so hopefully this is going to be really nice under foundation, and also that it's giving me that extra little bit of moisture. My skin feels really nice. For foundation today I'm going to be taking the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. I love that these now come with pumps. I'm just going to pop a couple of pumps on the back of my hand and I'm going to apply that with a beauty blender because I honestly use a beauty blender every single day to pop on my foundation. It's blended in really nicely. It's gone on really nice with my beauty blender, which is always a test for me. I think if you use the same tool every day to apply foundation and you like it with lots of different ones, when you get a new one, if it works with that as well, you kind of already one step in the right direction. See that I've got a little bit of a sheen to the skin. It's definitely not matte, which obviously it says it's a radiant foundation, so I wouldn't expect it to, but it doesn't look really shiny or really glowy. I'm just going to go in with a little bit more where I want extra coverage just to see if it is buildable. The colour match for me, I'm normally always DeVille. I do find that it's a tad tad too kind of deep for me, but the lightest shade in NARS foundations is too light, so I just have to kind of blend it as best I can. So I'm just taking a little bit of this. It seems to be buildable. It seems to be building really nicely where I want the extra coverage. I'm going to quickly fill in my eyebrows. I've gone back to an old favourite. This is Soap & Glory Archery, which I haven't used for a really long time. I'm probably just going to speed through this bit because you've all seen me do my eyebrows before. I've just quickly set my brows in place with the Eyelure Fleur de Force eyebrow tamer. You get a coloured gel at one end and a clear at the other, and I do actually really like this. For concealer today, I have the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define to use, which is meant to be a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape. I have the shade C3 because they really didn't have many shades left, so I'm a little bit worried that this is going to be a little dark for me, but we'll see. I usually like to go a little bit lighter under my eyes. The applicator, I really like the packaging of this, and the applicator is quite similar to Tarte Shape Tape in the way that it is quite a hefty, chunky little doe foot applicator. So I'm going to use my beauty blender again just to bob that in, and hopefully it's going to give me quite a nice coverage. One thing that I do find very, very impressive about this concealer, even though I haven't obviously used it yet, is the shade range. They have so many different colours, which is obviously a bonus. So far, my first impressions on that concealer, I don't know if you can see, but it's really brightened up under my eyes. I don't actually think I need to go any lighter whatsoever. It has given me quite a nice coverage. It's blended in really nicely. It's not creasing yet, which is good. So I'm going to quickly set all of this in place so that it doesn't move. I would always set my face with powder. So I'm going to today use the Glossier Wowder Weightless Finishing Powder, which I have had sat waiting to be used for a long time and haven't. So I thought today was as good as an excuse as any. The packaging of all Glossier products is beautiful, but this in particular I absolutely love. So I'm going to take this on a duo fibre brush just because I'm not sure how heavy coverage this is. I don't think it's going to be very heavy considering it says it's a weightless powder, but let's see. I'm just going to peel off the film, and this has a very interesting little mesh thing in the pot. Hopefully you can see that it picks up on camera. This I got in the shade light medium. It looks quite dark, I have to say. In the pan it doesn't look that fair, but I think this is the lightest shade. Quite like how the packaging of this is a little bit domed, so it's actually not that messy compared to a lot of translucent powders. I'm using quite a fair amount and I can still see that shine coming through from the foundation, which is good. I have the Too Faced, this is the Bait Luminous Glow Bronzer in the shade Sweet Tea, which I saw on Kathleen Light's channel. I'm not really into majorly cutesy packaging, but I suppose it's a little bit novelty. I'm just gonna mix, it's kind of like a bit of a lighter and a darker bronzer. I'm gonna mix the two together and just see how we get on. Okay, really, really pigmented. I literally dipped my brush in there, so I'm just going to tap off a little bit of that excess because I don't want to go in too heavy-handed considering I've not used the product before. My first impression really is that it's not blending as well as I would like it to. Whether that could be that it's where I've not powdered properly, that it could just be sitting on top of the foundation a little bit more. I don't know what it's looking like on camera. It's looking quite warm, I think. I don't know. I'm not overly wowed by this on first use. So for my blusher today I have the Bare Minerals Gen Nude Powder Blush in the shade Let's Go Nude. So this is a very nudie peach blusher, just the shade that I tend to go for. This is a new formula out from Bare Minerals, and I think I've only ever used the Complexion Rescue from Bare Minerals. I've never used a powder product or anything else, so on first look this looks a beautiful shade, something that's right up my street. It looks very, very much like Sleek Suede blusher, which is my all-time favourite blusher really, I suppose. So that has gone on beautifully. They're very, very pigmented. In real life it's not looking like I've got too much colour on my cheeks, but in the camera I think it's showing up like I have quite a lot. It's gone on a lot nicer and smoother than the bronzer, I think. Highlighter, I'm going to take the Laura Geller Gilded Honey. The packaging isn't that great, it's like a plasticky packaging, but the way that it's actually kind of been like swirled in the pan is very, very pretty. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this on the tops of my cheekbones. It's not gone on super, super highlighty. It's not like, oh my goodness, in your face highlighter, but it's a very, very nice colour. Let's just see if we can build it up a little bit. It's almost a kind of pearlescent-y, goldy pink colour. I will say I can see that something is settling in to my lines underneath my eyes, and it might be the powder, it might be the concealer. I think I'm happy with my face. I'm gonna leave it there for now. It's always a bit weird when you try a load of new products at once. It's something that you don't really do on a day-to-day basis, so I feel a little bit out of sorts and not really like myself when I do this, but obviously that's the nature of this video. I'm just gonna take a little bit of, I think I'm gonna take Sienna and go a little bit warm under my eyes just to kind of finish those off. I'm just going to pop a little bit of Glistening, which is this second shade here, just on my little finger and pop that in my inner corners. I have the Maybelline with Gigi Hadid mascara. This is the fibre mascara. So you have the mascara and you have the fibres. So I'm going to go in with a coat of the mascara first and then pop on some fibres and then go back in with the mascara. I am so lazy when it comes to mascara. I just like to kind of whack it on. I've been using and really, really, really liking the Lancome Monsieur Big recently. They're like little bits of cotton wool. It's so strange. I feel like it's adding more volume than it is length at the moment. Honestly, I can't say that that's made a massive amount of difference. I'm not that impressed. I don't know if I could be bothered with the faff of this for the payoff that it's given. Whereas I think if you just had a really good mascara, it would give you the effect that this one does anyway, without having to mess around with fibres that I don't actually think have done much at all. It's not, I don't think it's that great. I wouldn't spend, I think it was about a tenner. I wouldn't waste your money on this. Before I go in with my lip product, I am going to set my face using the Milani Make It Last setting spray. This says it gives 16-hour wear, so I'm just going to pop some of this on. So that was a really, really nice mist. It wasn't too, the Urban Decay one can be really, excuse the pun, in your face. This was a really, really nice mist. It feels really refreshing and it's got a little bit of a scent to it, so if that bothers you, it might initially, but I can't smell it now. I could just smell it when it went on, but it's just smelled really, really refreshing. It says that it's meant to prime, correct and set, so I'll let you know how I got on with this. This wasn't too pricey compared to a lot of setting sprays, so I really hope that I like this because it could replace a couple that I use at the moment. For my lips, I'm using the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in the shade 65 Seductress. It's been a while since I've used a drugstore kind of liquid lipstick, and these I've heard quite good things about. This was from one of the newest launches. I think they've just recently launched quite a few new nude shades, so we'll see how this one, how we get on. It smells really good, almost like, you know when you used to buy cheap lipsticks from like the local market when you were younger? It kind of smells like that. It kind of reminds me of my childhood. So that went on really easily. I really, really liked the applicator. It's gone on quite wet. It's not dried down yet, so hopefully that will dry down matte, because obviously it's meant to be a matte product and that is what you want. It has gone a little bit on my teeth. I just had to do a little bit of stain removal on my teeth because it is quite wet, but I really like this shade. But so far I really like that, and the applicator was really interesting. It made it really easy to apply. We'll see how we get on. I hope you've enjoyed this. I will check in many, many hours. You'll see me in a few hours time. So this makeup has been on for a few hours now. I'm ready to go and take it all off and wash my face, but I'm actually really, really impressed with it, I have to say. The only thing that I would say not to go and waste your money on would be the mascara. Not because there was anything that bad with it. I can see that it has added a little bit of length to my lashes. The fibres haven't dropped down throughout the day, they've stayed in place, but for the price I think it's well worth just buying a really good mascara that you can just build up the volume and the length and everything that you want from that, rather than faffing with fibres, which was kind of what I thought anyway, but I just thought I'd give it a go because it was a new launch and I liked the packaging. As far as the base goes, I am by the way sat just in front of a window. I think I should start doing all my videos just sat in front of a window if it's a makeup one, because the lighting is so much better just being sat in front of the natural light, rather than sat where I was before, where there's natural light in this room but I'm not sat directly in front of the window. So I've noted that down for next time. But the actual foundation has lasted so well, and obviously that could be a combination of the primer, the setting spray, the powder and stuff. It still feels a little bit tacky to touch, which I'm not used to. That might just mean that I needed to powder a little bit more, but it's lasted so well. The eyeshadow looks exactly the same as what it did when I put it on this morning, which I think is probably a combination of a really good primer, and also I always find that Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadows are actually really good. I'm very, very close to the camera, but just so you can see it, this lipstick has probably been the winner for me, to be honest. This has lasted through drinks and ice cream. We went for a Nando's. I had my breakfast, I had Cheerios with this on. It has lasted the test of time. I would highly recommend this. I've not topped this up. It literally looks exactly the same. It's not bled, it hasn't kind of like gone crumbly or crusty or anything like that. I'm really impressed with it, and it feels really comfortable as well. It hasn't felt really dry throughout the day or anything like that. So this was the Maybelline matte Superstay matte inks, and I would really recommend them. And yeah, I think the highlighters lasted pretty well. I can see it more now in the natural light. I must say that seeing it actually in the daylight, it looked a lot better than what it did when I was just filming before in the lighting that I had in front of me. But the concealer, again, I did think it had gone a little bit kind of grey under my eyes immediately, but again, it might just be something that I need to just kind of like build up a little bit more, or it might have not been the best powder to use under my eyes. But overall, I am pretty impressed with everything. The bronzer, I wasn't that keen on when it went on. I felt like it went on quite patchy, but I'm going to use that as part of my normal routine, the foundation and the powder that I use every single day, and that I love every other bronzer on top of, to see how it goes on. So yeah, I think that's it really. I would recommend everything that I tried off first try, I think, this morning, apart from the mascara, and I need a little bit longer with that bronzer. The blusher, by the way, I absolutely love the colour of this blusher, and it is so creamy. It went on really nicely. My foundation hasn't come away really from my nose or anything like that. I've not had to repowder. I always get little marks here if I've had my glasses on, but that happens all the time. But I'm really impressed with how everything looks, really. If I was going out for tea, I wouldn't budge anything. So this has definitely been an all day look, which I wasn't expecting, I have to say. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe if you did enjoy. I will see you all very soon.